Dr. Adam Wu, Trevor Lee in a session earlier today called Adam Wu, one of the great China travel pioneers. Welcome, Adam. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank
Today,
you.
Adam joins us from London. Adam runs CBN Travel MICE and World Travel Online. He is also engaged in investments out of China. Adam and his companies has been supporting tourism authorities all over the world to promote foreign destinations in China, and they have done that online and offline. Adam will tell us how to reach Chinese tourism and Chinese tourists in pandemic times and after pandemic times. Welcome, Adam. We're excited to hear what you have to tell us.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you. And I would like to start by sharing the screen so that we have limited time and to really focus on what can be done really to succeed in attracting the visitors, particularly the Chinese, back to your destinations, and what have succeeded in China even during the COVID-19 now. And of course, we see that will be over as tested, by what has been happening in China recently during the Golden Week. Jan mentioned that, yes, we do have a number of entities that focus on outbound travel from China. So indeed, we started outbound travel long ago now. That's just making me very old now, that over 20 years that, of course, when I was first sent overseas to study, this was back in 1986. So it genuinely makes me old now. And the entities we focus on outbound travel started with the World Travel Online, which was launched back in 2006 as the first and still the leading portal, outbound travel portal, providing free information on foreign destinations and attractions, accommodations, and so on, to both the outbound travel trade, but also millions of Chinese travelers entirely free of charge, and of course in Chinese language. So later on, I will share the experience of how to break down the language barrier, the time difference in reaching the entire outbound travel trade, which consists of over 38,000 outbound tour operators. At the bottom, you can see that we run the China Travel and Tourism Club, and also 20,000 corporate travel organizers. And of course, could be more. These are the corporate members of our China Travel and Tourism Club. And then we have 68,000 professional members. These are the individual travel professionals who sign up and use our platform, both online, but also offline, as we have the CBN Travel MICE, which has been dealing with Chinese visitors, particularly the higher end of the visitors from government officials, business people, and special interest travel from China overseas. We handled the Olympic torch relay, the World Expo promotion in numerous countries, and of course also brought the large media group for the event, for example, London Olympics and so on. So we have had experience in dealing with Chinese visitors, even some special interest travel for sports, for student travel and so on. Those I will be happy to share what could be done with more of those Chinese visitors. Now, so what's really interesting to everyone, I know that's quite a few other presenters shared recent surge of or recovery of the domestic travel, but this recovery started actually much earlier, back in May. So that's soon after lockdown opened up, that you can see the picture on this slide actually was taken back in May. So that's 5 months ago. Already Chinese started inbound domestic, obviously, travel. And also, of course, at that time, the rebound was just about half, and some resorts recovered to 70%. That's pretty fast. But what has happened just recently during the National Day holiday Golden Week is, some say that is complete recovery, but the figure still shows that 80%, 79% of recovery from last year, the same period. But the sheer number, 637 million trips. So, let's put that into context. USA only has 310 million population. That means that every one of the, American has to make 2, trips to make up this figure, But unfortunately, they were affected much by the pandemic still, and yet Chinese have been traveling within China itself, but also have been traveling overseas. Later, you will see that during this period, destinations that opening are already receiving or have received Chinese, will receive more Chinese visitors. And the spending power is very significant as well. So such fast and strong recovery really confirmed that COVID-19 can be overcome, just like, the previous the pandemic or financial crisis, anything, even the war and so on. Nothing can stop people from traveling, because we are, living, let's say, human being that we like to travel, we like to experience different, culture, custom, and enjoy ourselves. So that is really what we are looking at, the real reason for the recovery. Now, this is the more kind of a recent specific data concerning the U-shaped recovery, and this will lead to the quarter coming now, because you can compare this is by Ctrip, as you know, branded as trip.com group, and their figures are pretty accurate based on the actual number of people who traveled during October last year, and this year that's 100% increase, which is significant. But it's, there's specific sector, which is FIT travel. So in other words, actually, the private family groups made up 98% of those who traveled during those National Day holidays. And this will be a trend for overseas traveling as well. Okay. What's better news is the attractions tickets were, sold literally, year on year. That's 100% increase as well. Flight bookings, doubled the months before. So, again, it's a big jump. And hotel bookings, and that is, significant increase or recovery, really. Now, what's of more interest to those who are focusing on outbound travel from China is the potential of the markets. We can only speak with the figures of what happened. So we still got 2.5 months to go this year before we can see what's happening. But just use the last year's factual figures that we were the largest outbound travel market since 2012. Yesterday, Xu Jing mentioned that, I think on the second day of this event, that yes, China has been the largest outbound travel market, not only in terms of the sheer number of Chinese going abroad, but actually in terms of the spending power. So back in 2008, the latest figure showed that we spent 277 billion US dollars. These are US dollars figure. So that's almost double that of American spending, triple of what Germans used to spend, and 4 times of the British, and 6 times, you can multiply this by 6 times of the French, for example. And so interestingly, in this top 10, there is no, Japanese or whatever that used to travel before 1980s. When I was actually first sent overseas, I used to be mistaken for Japanese, but now they are not being seen, and Chinese have overtaken. Now, this is the latest news this morning. The China Civil Aviation Authority has confirmed. So in other words, this is the facts that you can quote. Official figure of 294, almost 300 round-trip flights are now available to and from China to 55 countries now. And of course, apart from 19 Chinese airlines, that 86 foreign airlines are now flying to China, and of course taking Chinese back to their country as well. So this is a good sign, and of course this figure can only increase with situation improving, not only within China, but also in destinations that are opening up, and we really hope that's happening for more and more destinations. Now, this is quite an interesting survey that this survey was done again for the May holiday period, that still 60% of Chinese had the intention to travel overseas even. Okay, so that's the intention. 27% not decided. Only 13% say, oh no, I'm scared, I'm not, or for whatever reason they are not going. But of course, with the assurance and many destinations COVID safe, I'm sure that more people do wish to travel. And of course, to start, it's also confirmed they are still traveling internally, because that's the only destination they can travel. Travel overseas will make up 45%, and surrounding areas, these two figures almost match up. Now, this is interesting, that how we would be travel from China. This figure is being changed very dramatically, because this was done for the May holiday period, that still shows for 48% would like to go overseas in groups. But later on, the figure shows that FIT travel make up much bigger percentage. And that is explained by the fact that people do want to travel along, are able to travel, or do not want to be in large groups. A trend that I'm sure many of the DMOs and DMCs want to take into consideration when planning new products, new destinations, so that cater for FITs, smaller family groups, rather than the large groups in the past, and so on. And where would the Chinese like to go? Again, going to the tropical islands. So we are now getting ready or preparing for the Chinese New Year, another golden, not just golden week, actually Chinese New Year normally, give people certain part of the country as well. That's a much longer holiday than just 1 week, actually much longer. People take annual holidays during that time. But because at that time would be cold in China, so tropical destinations would be certainly favored. So in other words, those destinations that not just in around Southeast Asia, but further, field like Seychelles or Mauritius and so on, Caribbean would be an ideal destination, as far as those destinations are COVID safe and get the message across, but also with certain attractions that's to attract the Chinese coming, because sea and sound we do have in China even, but some special culture, foods, and of course, for families taking their children to destinations that where they also, consider to study in the future and so on. Or for those younger ones, later on you will see that the new trend is the younger, much younger. We call it after 1990s or so on. This new millennium. Those people want to go for adventure travel and so on. Even during COVID-19, I've seen reports of standalone travelers that are going to Africa and traveling on their own, which is a new trend. It's not advisable, but it's new trend anyway. Shopping still make up part of the mix. Now, where would Chinese like to go? And these are done again during the same survey that Japan as the nearest destination at that time was less affected by COVID, was named as the top, but soon after you can see European, because this event focused more on Europe, and Europe is actually on the par with Thailand. It used to be a very, very favorite destination. I'm sure they will get themselves ready as well. But the European market was named at least favored by Chinese. We can see how many European destinations will be getting ready, open up rather than restrict. Okay, and not surprisingly, places like Maldives, traditional, the Chinese New Year destination, and Singapore is very keen on has already opened the safe flight passages and so on. That's New Zealand did very well, and so those are the destinations that's being surveyed. But of course, what affects Chinese? How would they decide where to go? Is word of mouth, recommendation by relatives, friends, and so on. But also later on, you will see the key opinion leaders and of course key opinion customers that share their experience overseas. Is why my advice and also practice for many of our clients is to continuously promoting your destinations in China. That comes up next, so that any message that carries now will generate tangible results when you are opening up. Because if there's no message of your destination that are welcoming Chinese or getting ready for Chinese, then they may think you are not ready. There are other destinations that are proactive. So continuous marketing particularly online during those times, are essential, has proven to be very successful anyway. Now, these are the new trends, as mentioned before, and FIT, small groups, private family groups become the majority of the visitors, the way of going abroad. Younger generation, self-driving, which has been very popular among Chinese, particularly younger ones, and so get yourself ready for those type of products. And of course, destinations, even in less visited areas, remote areas, are getting more popular nowadays than cities crowded. Now, how to reach the Chinese market? Obviously, in the past, you used to attend exhibitions, joining road shows, setting up offices in China, employing Chinese staff, and even learning Chinese language. All these were very practical and necessary possibly, but they were all very expensive, and nowadays probably not always feasible. And yet, what has proven to be the most cost-effective way of reaching both the outbound travel trade and millions of Chinese travelers is via the China Wide Web and using the unique social media in China. Now, what is China Wide Web? I know some of you come across this idea of this, the terminology, but this is illustration because in China we do have our own internet system. Some says separated by the Great Firewall of China. That is not just one-way separation, but with US only banning even WeChat or TikTok, that's there is Great Firewall of USA as well. That's but knowing this is important, so that when you do any promotion in China, you want to be on the other side of the firewall. So how do we do that? Now, the firewall did block all those on the right, and of course, leave us with a unique social media platforms. You all have heard of WeChat, and to know 1.2 billion, actual active users of WeChat. Remember, China only has 1.4 or 1.36 billion population. We got 1.2 billion WeChat users. That's a significant, okay? And Youku being the video sharing platform that is being overtaken now by the Douyin equivalent, are actually the Chinese version of the TikTok, much more popular in China. So the banning in USA doesn't affect that at all, because essentially it's what Chinese are using. And Weibo is still very popular among particularly those that's KOL and celebrities and so on. Of course, others following those people. Now, this is an example of what we developed for many hundreds of those foreign destinations, official websites in Chinese on the China Wide Web. You can see .cn website, but also the optimized on the mobile, because again in China, 1.36 billion population, I would say, apart from younger ones are very old, everyone would have one or two sometimes mobiles and so on. That then everything is optimized for mobile use. And of course, with WeChat, Weibo, always on the homepage, people can scan this QR code, and they can just access more information on the social media account. So it's necessary for any foreign destinations to have what's called official or verified service WeChat account. This is necessary just because only once you have that official verified service account, you will be able to release your information, official information. Chinese are very keen on seeing official information. Also, they do look at what others say, but they would take the official line as those being more factual and so on. That so to have that as your platform and channel is necessary. And as I mentioned earlier on, some people were concerned that yes, they got email from one of the clients saying, "Oh, what is the implication of the executive order by Donald Trump concerning TikTok and WeChat?" I would say nothing in China, because that may affect only those who are using it in USA, but you are not promoting yourself to USA. They are not traveling now. But in China, nothing will have changed, because Donald Trump doesn't have power over China yet, so within China for sure. And so we do have over 1.2 billion should be active users of WeChat still in China. And ironically, while they are banning use of TikTok and WeChat in China, they still, welcome them to advertise in US or any other destination. So it's a bit ironic. So we know there's politics, but for tourism promotion, you look at what is being used in China itself. Now, I mentioned the service accounts. The note at the bottom is important. Foreign tourism promotion authorities and companies can register service WeChat accounts only, and you can register with your registration certificates. Also, if you do it on your own, could be very lengthy, very time-consuming, and of course, having a local partner or agent and so on to do so will eliminate all that. And also, the service accounts need to be verified, so that's why you only need to look at the verified service accounts. It does allow you to release at least 4 messages per month, but you will have custom menu and so on. What's important is you will have full followers list, so you build up your database, but you can also use the QR code so that people or potential users can scan and then access and so on. And also you can use that for payment. So once you have verified service accounts, all those literally e-commerce, particularly nowadays when, for example, foreign outlets and so on that want to, selling without waiting for the customer can do so via verified service account, and that's what we can support as well. And mini programs has become popular because this is more kind of dynamic version of the traditional WeChat and so on. So again, we have the know-how in doing so that you can have the product sales function and of course with the mapping and editorial content that's in Chinese. That's why we've been actually busy throughout those lockdown periods, because most clients require to do more online rather than offline. Weibo, as mentioned, is still being used, has 2 versions on traditional laptop, desktop, but also mobile version for convenience and so on. But in terms of numbers, users and so on, it's smaller than WeChat and so on. Here, yes, KOL we mentioned. You can see the sheer, influence, because each of those have several millions of actual followers. So imagine you get the message across to one of those that we are working with, and then their message reaches millions. That otherwise you have to acquire. But here we do work with all those. We only list those that we are working with, and there are many more as well. And of course, the user generates content. This is where we generate many of those key opinion customers. So they actually release information, become celebrity in their own right. And our World Travel Online actually allows them to do so free of charge. So that is where we build up database and users to access your information in Chinese, both via the social media. So for example, the Youku, that if you register and so on, operate is quite difficult within China, because you have to bypass the Great Firewall if you release anything from overseas. But of course, our own Youku account allows our client to upload. We upload for them as well, of course, free of charge, and of course in Chinese, also as a translated or dubbed or subtitled in Chinese. And we mentioned the Douyin itself. You can see that Douyin, the TikTok, original TikTok in China, has already 400 million daily active users, comparing to Youku, which was earlier, obviously. And that's why increasing number of foreign clients are registering Douyin nowadays in China. So if you can't pronounce Douyin, just call it TikTok, but it's more popular in China in Douyin rather than TikTok is not there. So here are some figures that you see. Tengxun is, again, that's another platform and so on. So they are more than what we just mentioned, the WeChat, Weibo, and so on. That's always hundreds of millions, but they are all part of the media center. So we have this media network grouping all those major platforms, so that when you come to us, we actually release to all those that you want to, for example, Ctrip or Tuna themselves, that's our clients as well. And of course, traditional media and new media, and of course, OTAs as well. Now, what in summary I would like to say is the online, marketing activities are still the most cost-effective. Why? Because it doesn't involve traveling, which is difficult nowadays. And of course, it reaches many more people just because, again, people can access your information on their desktop, on their phones. You know, those have been to China, always been amazed that when you get onto metro and so on, that every single one is looking at their iPhone, their mobile phone, I would say, rather than iPhone, just because they are Huawei and some other phones. So constantly, even when they are working, they are still looking at it. Not safe, not advised, but they do it. So in other words, everyone is constantly looking at the social media, their mobile devices and so on for information. And we also provide webinars, online training, again, reaches much greater number of tour operators who can do so at their desktop rather than having to wait for a roadshow that's in a specific city. So literally, sometimes we say everything has two sides, you know, positive, negative. In Chinese, we call yin and yang. So of course, COVID is, you know, horrendous kind of a disease to the human being, but it did, you know, change the way how things need to be done. So virtual and you know, online is genuinely becoming a necessity rather than accessory, a necessity for sure. So that's why we set up, maintain official social media account that if foreign entities do on your own, it's much harder. Those who tried always failed or had difficulty, we will take over. But we also started online transaction support because the increasing number of clients have online transactions that need physical support. We have call centers that obviously can answer any time within China time zone. But of course, when time is right, when you do want to come back for roadshows, we've been doing that for years now, and business appointments, when you want to meet up, for example, GITF obviously is going to be live again. Then when you do come down, you want to meet up with the right people, we will make the appointments, we will take you to meet up with them, or we will set up or even man your stand during the exhibition so that you don't have to send too many people if you cannot. We will still be there to promote. We will still bring the Chinese tour operators, the media, to you when you are safe enough to receive smaller group to begin with, because farm trip doesn't have to be too many people, easily manageable, so that you test out those new products, new destinations for smaller groups. Okay. Now, the last I'm watching at the stopwatch, I got 2 minutes actually to only one slide. So I would just say it's not what we have been saying, but others voting, you know, giving award to us from our World Travel Online, voted as the best outbound travel portal because it's genuinely free of charge. It's providing information in Chinese language. So that is, you know, even those who are making bookings through us and so on, we don't charge any commission. So in other words, when it's free, it attracts more people. But we also, you know, have our own CBN Travel MICE. And of course, you know, when we attend the exhibitions for our own clients, we win many, many awards actually for our foreign clients. So this is the important thing for you to know, that it's not just for us to be say, oh, we are the best. We want you to be the best. So we work with you because you know, essentially outbound travel cannot happen without the DMOs, because you are the destination we want to visit. DMCs are the companies that are receiving the clients. So we serve from accommodation providers to attractions, and of course from airlines to airport, and indeed the destinations from, you know, Argentina all the way to Zimbabwe. So, and also from national, regional, and local level. So never hesitate to say, oh, am I too small to reach out to Chinese? No, as far as you are open, we are happy to support you. Okay. And I don't have more slides, but I just want to make sure that my time is right there. So it's just coming up to the 30 minutes. I go back to the first slide so that for you to know, if you need to reach us, you can access us online and via the website called World Travel Online, and the web address in English, if you want to remember better, easier, is travel168.net. And that is the equivalent to Chinese. If you learned or know the Chinese, is 旅游, which is equivalent to travel 旅游 168.cn. So we are on the China Web. So here you are. So here you can see if you want to know more about us, you can reach out. I think yes, I'm on the BUZZ network, so that's you can leave a message if you are interested in this message presentation. You can send a message. I can send you a copy. Okay, exactly 30 minutes. Thank you.
Exactly on time. Thank you, Adam. You obviously have a lot of experience and tons of knowledge to share. One sense that right away. Thank you for the overview, very comprehensive overview. And as you said, Adam is on our BUZZ Expo, and Adam has a booth. Reach out to Adam, make an online appointment, and get in touch with Adam. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everyone, for BUZZ Network and the China Summit. Bye-bye.